everyone, I'm Lzzy Hale from the band HALESTORM, and you are watching Primordial Radio.
Let's talk Halestorm, because they be a teasing something. Moose, have you seen the teaser that they've dropped for the new track? They are teasing the follow-up to 2022's Back From The Dead album, which was a fab album. So the teaser, the caption reads, "Darkness Always Wins," coming April the 22nd. So at time of speaking, that will be next Tuesday. All right. Darkness Always Wins. Now, this would apparently be the first track that they wrote for what has turned into the new album. They say it was like a test session. They went down to the studio in Savannah in Georgia, and they wrote and recorded it in 2 days with producer Dave Cobb. Now, I had to give him a Google. So he works a lot in the country kind of scene. He's won Grammy Awards for Best Country Song, working with the likes of Brandi Carlile, Chris Stapleton, Jason Isbell, all those kind of cats. He's also done some work on the soundtrack, I think it was, for A Star Is Born. You know that film with Lady Gaga and
Bradley Cooper, yeah.
Bradley Cooper, yes, that one. So this guy has pedigree, not necessarily in the heavy world, but most definitely he knows how to make a catchy-ass song, all right? So we've had this teaser, which I think it sounds very cool. It's just a teaser clip that's got a lighter flame on the video, and it's soft and tinkly with piano, but it hints at something heavier, something darker to come, which would tie in with the caption on this teaser, "Darkness Always Wins." What does this mean for new Halestorm stuff? It's a tricky old time in the world at the moment. Artists are just like all the rest of us. You know, they consume media, they consume news, they look at what's happening in the world, and the art that they then create is often a response to what's happening in the world, influenced by the events in the world. So for a title like Darkness Always Wins, it doesn't imply a hugely positive vibe to the album, does it?
Well, no, but I think that's probably the hook, isn't it? So that's quite un-Halestorm, isn't it? And so this new collaboration, you know, in from a fellow who's really sort of cut his teeth in the country world, would suggest it's going to sound a little bit different, probably more broadly commercial, and then have a shining message within.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. But with the darkness, you know, the darkness always wins. It sounds like Halestorm's given up, because they're very positive. They've always been positive, and they're one of the more. I mean, I don't know if you can use this description, but they're one of the more so likable people. You know, they're likable, real, positive individuals. And then thinking, oh my goodness, have Halestorm succumb to darkness? I don't think so.
Both Moose and I, we have met Halestorm many, many, many times over the course of the last 13 years. That first time always sticks out for me, because I was still relatively green in the world of radio, and I was expecting these guys to be a little bit up themselves. I'd had questionable experiences with interviewees and guests up until then. But Halestorm, they set the bar for me for what an artist could be like. They were the kindest, sweetest, nicest, most accommodating people I have ever met. They were every single one of them, absolute sweethearts. You know, RJ is one of my favorite people in the entire world. He's an absolute live wire. I will happily go out for a beer with Joe Hottinger any single day of the week. You know, Lzzy Hale, one of the most spellbinding rock front women ever in my book, with one of the greatest voices I've ever heard. And they just did a little acoustic session for us. Since then, you know, met them at festivals, done all this kind of stuff. And I think I can speak for you as well here, Moose, when we say that we want nothing but good things for Halestorm.
100%. But is that what we want from Rockstars? Is that what people want from their Rockstars? Is that nicey, you know, accessibility? You know, and I'm not saying yay or nay, but I'm wondering, you know, the true giants in rock aren't necessarily that fabulous and kind,
no,
are they? But so I wonder if that's all part of the, you know, the rock persona. I don't know. But Halestorm, to me, I wonder if they have imposter syndrome. I wonder if they actually believe, because they don't seem like, you know, we're going to go conquer the world, we're going to do this. They were never like that. It was always just driven. We got to do the next thing so we can keep on doing this thing. And it was like, we got to do the next thing, so that we can keep on going. and it's turned out incredibly well over a lot of time and a lot of hard work. But I wonder if they there some individuals, rightly or wrongly, have a bit of hubris about them. They don't at all. They're just down to earth, and they're grateful, even from the word get-go. Even now, with the last time we met, it was that they're still grateful. Good on them. And you're right. You can't help but like them and pull for them. And go, come on, I want them to conquer the universe, and I hope this new song, takes them to sort of Paramore territory, if I can use that, if I can compare like that, but where they cross over and get known by everybody. Yeah. That would be great. That would be good.
Yeah. But if it was simply down to hard work and the relentless devotion to the fans, then Halestorm would be stadium headliners by now. They graft. They have this DIY spirit where they will do stuff. Do we think that they will ever grow to be the size of a Sleep Token now to headline? Do we think that Halestorm have got that kind of viral moment in them?
Of course they do.
That will propel them in the public consciousness to being a festival headliner. Because I remember at time of speaking, Download Festival, the biggest rock and metal festival in the UK, has never had a female headliner. Could Halestorm be that band?
Of course they can. Of course they can. But I don't think they're going to be like Sleep Token and have that je ne sais quoi. They're going to do it by popularity, the sort of the traditional way. And, maybe it'll be by going by mainstream or having some big, massive hit. I think it was I'm going to really catch myself out here, but something like, I think it's REO Speedwagon. They didn't really become massive until fairly late in their career. And they had a multitude of albums. So, when their big hits came, people go, "Oh, yeah, I love REO Speedwagon." Their 2 albums. Yeah, we got 12. You know what I mean? So I could see that. I could see they're on the cusp of it now. I would say they're on the cusp of it. And so this next stage is critical if that's what their ambition is.
You are going to be knocking on the door, aren't you, for those headline slots at the festivals? I'm pretty sure
absolutely.
You want to be their headline in Download one day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, regardless of how much pressure that is, that will definitely be a monumental part. And Pete, you never run out of dreams. It's like you keep crossing some stuff off of the bucket list and new things keep adding themselves to the bottom. So, yeah, that's definitely one on the bucket list that I gotta tick off before, anything crazy happens. So.
Well, there you go. There you go, Mr. Coppin. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's happening, Andy. I'm coming
Lzzy,
for you, Andy.
They have been building up, which I think, in one way, I think they're winning a Grammy Award back in, was it 2011, 2012 for Love Bites? I think that may actually have held them back slightly. Yes, it helped get their name out and everything out there. But then when you're still relatively early in your career, hey, we've won a Grammy, then everything, you're trying to keep up to that level for the rest of your career. Whereas if they hadn't won that, they could have just built up at their own pace. But then you never know. Would they have had the eyes on them and the attention if they hadn't have won that Grammy at that fairly early stage?
And we're looking through the lens of the UK. And is it a case that Halestorm have done exceptionally well in the UK? Take Blackstone Cherry, for argument's sake. In terms of their place in the UK, it's much higher than what their profile is in the United States.
I mean, these are the only kind of venues we play in the States. We don't do the big halls and stuff like that here, It's always been a grind and always been, smaller style venues like this. And we're okay with that, as long as people are showing up to the shows and coming to hang out, that's what we're here for, But without places like this, then we wouldn't have a place to play in the States.
Mike's with us in the chat now as we're recording this. Says, I hope they get a Download sub-headline slot in the not too distant future, in the same way that Shinedown now have. Yes, if you look at Download 2025, the lineup, Sleep Token headline in the Saturday night, Shinedown sub-headliner just below them. And I think in this country, at least, I think Halestorm could be a roundabout on a par with that kind of level. I suspect that they will one day be on that top step in a similar way to the way that Korn are now. Korn have been around since the 90s, and this is their first Download Festival main stage headlining slot in 2025. 30 years after the fact, which is crazy. But I think that Halestorm they will get to that level, even if just by means of longevity, if they stick around for that long, which hopefully they will,
Nonetheless, I wish them all the luck, and I'm quite keen to hear the song, particularly with the story behind it and the production and who's behind it. So I hope it's fantastic. It will be.
Yeah.
It will be.
We've loved Halestorm for a long, long time. We want all the very best for them. New songs coming, new album coming. They're going to be at Back to the Beginning this summer at Villa Park. You get the feeling that stuff's building up for Halestorm, and we love to see it.
Primordial Radio.